Good evening and or good morning. Good. Welcome to another installment of the International Great Black Read Aloud Day, where we are here giving voice to words written by Black people all around the world. And today is day 4, and we are very excited about today. It is jazz and it is our jazz and music day. And so we are excited about our selection today. And if you haven't, we want to invite you to subscribe to our website. There you can see our reading list from the previous years. This is our third year, and we're so proud um, that this is our third year doing the Read Aloud, the Black Read Aloud. And so if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to our site and get news and things all throughout the year about our reading aloud and our literacy initiative. Our reason for reading is simply to promote literacy and to share all of the wonderful works by so many different people across the African diaspora. And so it is our joy to be here with you at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. I guess I should tell you that my name is LD Robinson, and I am your reader for this installment. And so today is day 4, which is jazz and music. And we have a wonderful selection for today. And our selection for today is The Beautiful Ones by Prince. And you can see it here. There's the cover right there. And we are going to get started with our selection. And we are going to start with My Mother's Eyes. That's the first thing I can remember. I guess I should tell you before we start that this book is written in a very interesting way. For in places where there can be um, uh, words, he uses numbers or symbols, and so it's very interesting. We all know that Prince loves symbols, and so this one is a very interesting read. So I hope you enjoy it. My Mother's Eyes. The first thing I can remember, you know how you can tell when someone is smiling just by looking in their eyes? That was my mother's eyes. Sometimes she would squint them like she was about to tell you a secret. I found out later that my mother had a lot of secrets. My father's piano, that's the first thing I remember hearing. As a younger man, his playing was very busy but fluid. It was a joyous sound. The eyes and the ears of a songwriter can never get enough praise. The way things look and the way things sound when conveyed lyrically can give a song space and gravity. Of course, to this writer, there was nothing more beautiful than his mother's eyes. But why? One of the reasons is how playful they were, the fun and mischief they promised. There were two princes in the house where we lived, the older one with all the responsibilities of heading a household, and the younger one whose only modus operandi was fun. Not just any run of the mill childhood board game fun, but fun with a wink attached. My mother liked to wink at me. I knew what a wink meant before I knew how to spell my name. A wink meant something covert was going on, something special that only those who were in on it could attest to. Sometimes, when my father wasn't playing piano, he'd say something to my mother, and she would wink at me. She never told me what it meant, and sometimes it would be accompanied by a gentle caress of her hand to my face. But I am quite sure now this is the birth of my physical imagination. An entire world of secrets and intrigue, puzzles to solve, and good old fashioned make believe. A place where everything for a change goes your way. One could get used to this. Many artists fall down the rabbit holes of their own imaginations and never return. There have been many who decry this as self destruction, but I prefer the term free will. Life is better lived. What path one takes is what sets us apart from the rest. Those considered different are the ones most interesting to us. A vibrant imagination is where the best songs are found. Make believe characters wearing make believe clothes, all together creating memories and calling it life. My parents were beautiful, To watch them leave the crib dressed up for a night on the town was one of my favorite things to do. Even though my mother was walking funny when she came home, it was all worth it to me to see them happy. Whenever they were happy with one another, all was right in the world. Thinking back, my father's mood used to change instantly whenever my mother dressed up. She craved attention and he gave her plenty of it when she was sharp. All of the family, friends, and relatives, my parents of all I'm sorry, of all the family, friends, and relatives, my parents were the sharpest. No one could accessorize like they could. My mother's jewelry, gloves, and hats all had to match. My father's cufflinks, tie pins, and rings all sparkled with the shark skin frame of his suit. My father's suits were immaculate. There were so many of them. Every shirt had a corresponding tie to go with it. My favorite were the arrowhead style that rested just under the collar. Matter of fact, my father always outdressed my mother. Maybe there was a secret contest going on that we weren't aware of. She never gave me the wink on that. Only thing better than watching mother and father getting dressed up for a night on the town was watching them leave. That's where the imagined life began. A place where I could pretend dress up and enter a fantasy of my own direction. A different storyline each time, but always with a similar outcome. I am always sharp, and I always get the girl. In my fantasy world, I always live far away from the public at large, usually on a mountain, sometimes a cloud, and even in an underwater cave. How that was accomplished was never divulged, but somehow it worked out. Superpowers? Optional, but always with secret flying abilities to enter and exit in a location anytime I chose. Hidden places, secret abilities, a part of oneself that is never shown. These are the necessary tools for a vibrant imagination and the main ingredients of a good song. If not traditionally beautiful, what characteristic can a woman possess that still makes her irresistible to men? The answer is this: a fully functional imagination. Laura Winnick was in possession of such a trait. No one could play act fantasies better than Laura, not even me. Laura had a mastery of the English language that I had never encountered before. She could have a conversation with an imaginary friend and get everyone watching to suspend their disbelief to the point where they might start talking to the person themselves. Laura was only 5 or 6 at the time, but the only fantasy she wanted to play act was house. Whereas all my plays revolved around transmutation of some sort, Laura was firmly rooted in reality. It was better than television, and all her characters were happy, grounded, and smart. Out of nowhere one day, Laura decided she wanted me to play her husband. We were the first interracial couple in Minneapolis, but we were no doubt the youngest. All lives mattered back then because race didn't, at least not in our fantasy world. Laura kissed me 3 times that day. Each time was my first. The obligatory husband on the way to work kiss, one when you return, and one before you went to sleep that night. Those kisses, not lasting over 3 seconds each, in line with the Hays Code, mind you, were everything to me. Laura was initiating everything and moved her head just like the married people in the movies. To this day, my father's rendition of the jazz standard Laura is one of my favorite melodies. Handwriting is a lost art in need of resurrection. Everyone should have a pen pal to actually write to as often as possible. Having an audience who will not judge you opens the pen up to a more honest, fluid style of songwriting. My mother was also an artist, so her penmanship was impeccable. She could write on blank paper, and when she was finished, you could see the lines of every paragraph because of how straight her pen was. She first showed me how to write my name in kindergarten. She started with my nickname, Skipper, and then my given name, Prince. When showing me how to properly write the name Prince, I noticed my mother's demeanor change. She stared at the word after she wrote it, the same way she stared at my father sometimes. It was his name also, and this was a reverent look that she seemed to take pleasure in helping me own. Every school year to come, kids and teachers alike would tease me about my name, but it never bothered me because it was unique. No one else had the given name Prince except me. There is a technique called visualization that was most certainly being employed back then, even though we had no name for it. Things I wanted to happen, I would write or type. Looking back at those lists now, most everything came true. Before an actual stab at a real fully formed song, lists, stats were the first original writings. The list I was most proud of was the one containing my girlfriends. All the girls I liked at school were included. Whether they liked me or not was of no consequence. I liked them. They were on my list. So eventually they would like me. Such confidence. Rather than the cute little kid in their first grade class, they would want to, excuse me, rather than a cute little kid in their first grade class, they would one day think of me as a superhero who they really just want to play house with. The problem with vision lists is that they take time. Patience is required. After the encounter with Laura, who had since moved away to a better neighborhood, I needed real partners to explain the deeper, meaningful relationships in the subconscious world. I was smaller than the rest of the kids in school, so I needed a gimmick, something that would make people notice me. I tried tap dancing at my kid sister Tika's prodding. Tika told me I was good at everything, and I believed her. So off to the school talent show I went. What happened next almost derailed my hopes of neighborhood stardom for good. After they announced my name, I sheepishly walked on stage and proceeded to do a never changing rat a tat step with no music, mind you, for 28 and a half minutes, which usually felt like years until, well, I just stopped. I think the applause I got was for me getting off the stage. Anything to make that tapping noise stop. The white Buckner and his brother followed me home from school that night. First, to escort my sister and I home because it was sundown after the talent show, and secondly, to ridicule me and my performance. Dwight and his brother would mimic my routine in between uproarious laughter. Dwight kept saying to me, "What's wrong with you? Negroes ain't supposed to tap dance no more." And that is our selection from Prince, The Beautiful Ones, which is a delightful book filled with lots of handwritten notes and photographs from his life, um, and written in his very, I would say, quirky style. um, and an enjoyable book for sure, for sure. And so that is our selection for today, "The Beautiful Ones" by Prince. And it is day 4 for jazz and music here at the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. And this is edition 2023. And so if you haven't, we invite you to subscribe to our website, follow us online at Black Read Aloud, and we will see you tomorrow for day 5, the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. As you know, and we've been announcing, we will be at F.R.E.S.H Book Festival this year. And so we want to remind you and give you some news to help you plan for a wonderful book and film festival that will be held February 23rd through the 25th in Daytona Beach. It is called this year, the theme is a reading revolution, turning the world upside down with literature, because we believe that literacy is a legacy, which is the slogan for Fresh Book Festival. Literacy is a legacy. And so we are super excited about what is happening this coming month. And um, as we said, we will be live at Fresh Book Festival February 24th and 25th. We will be reading live from being on site. This is our first time that Fresh Book Festival and the International Great Black Read Aloud Day are occurring in the same month, as Fresh usually occurs in January. And so this is a unique opportunity for these two partners to get together and promote literacy. Well, my name is LD Robinson, and we will see you tomorrow for day 5 of the International Great Black Read Aloud Day. And day 5 subject for tomorrow is wellness. And we will see you tomorrow, and have a good night. And we actually made it a little early. We were before midnight tonight. We actually are before 11. So I'm pleased. It's a good day. Have a wonderful night, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.